Thank you for welcoming us into your headphones. My name is Chema,
I'm Eddie.
And I am Fernando.
reviewing Wanda Vision. This is the rollback, or as we'll probably call it, "Fuck Your Mephisto Theory," the special episode.
Jesus.
What's
There's so much
up,
factor.
dudes? What's up, dudes?
Well, to be fair, I
How?
think a lot of theories got put to rest, like the X-Men one, that she was going to create the X-Men.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about WandaVision, the 9 episode limited series on Disney Plus, which just wrapped up this week, this Friday. And this was an interesting watch. It was an interesting every week waiting for a new episode. I don't think we've had a long ongoing show that we've been watching week by week. We've gotten so used to um binging and seeing a full season really quick and then forgetting it exists for like the next several years until we randomly see it nominated on the Emmys. So I think WandaVision really challenged that by having a very interesting premise, a very interesting format, and it just wrapped up and it's gonna eventually collide into the ongoing MCU. So I really want to hear everyone's thoughts. What did we think about WandaVision?
Ready?
Yeah,
You're
did
up,
you?
man.
Oh,
Ferny?
okay, all right.
Yeah.
I dug it.
Yeah.
We're introduced to a deeper part of Wanda and Vision that we never really got to see from Civil War, from Age of Ultron, from pretty Infinity War. Um, they were always the background characters because they were introduced late. They're never they were never really characters to begin with to have like their own standout moments, especially movie wise, because you think movies you need to have big budgets, you need to have big stars, et cetera, et cetera. Not saying Elizabeth Olsen isn't a star, but you know how it is. What I like this show. I dug it. I to be honest, I didn't watch the first two episodes because they were just kind of too hard for me to watch. Um, but after episode three, it picks up pretty well. I dug how they fleshed out Wanda. Dug how they fleshed out Vision. They introduced Monica Rambeau. They fleshed out Chu's character. Um, and they even brought back Darcy. Um, I like how they introduced Sword, the replacement for Shield. Um, I think the only thing that I was a little iffy on was the ending because I know we all heard the shout out to Doctor Strange when Agnes is saying that she's stronger than the Sorcerer Supreme and Sorcerer Supreme, Doctor
Doctor
Strange.
Strange.
So I think what they're trying to do is set up Wanda as the next villain, which hey, go for it. If you can make her into a compelling villain, I'm all for it. I dug that they finally gave her the fucking costume, the Scarlet Witch costume. Um, I hated that they did that whole Evan Peters was an actor. I was like, oh man, that's cheap. But no, I think overall, like it was a pretty good idea for them moving forward. Because I'm curious as to what they're going to do with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Um, I think it is a smarter idea to take the characters that we already know from previous Marvel movies and put them in a fleshed out 9 episode season so that you could get to better know these characters.
I,
Um,
I agree, man. I hear you. I agree. I wanted to see everyone's perspective on this. So, Freddie, you were watching it week by week. Eddie, you binged it. Okay,
in
right?
about a day and a half, yeah.
Yeah.
One,
So, how do you feel it? How do you feel like it meshed as a binged show? Because I feel like watching it week by week and seeing the change in decade with every episode was very interesting. Because like every week you got a new flavor, but watching it back to back to back, I feel like maybe hits different. I don't know how
Real
you
quick,
felt.
I
Yeah.
dug the Malcolm in the Middle reference.
Yes. 100% agree. One of my favorite shows ever. It was great to see it referenced like that.
Now continue, Eddie.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, shit. So I used to say that, well, back when The Walking Dead was a big deal,
No.
Yeah.
old reference, but real quick. I used to love that show, and the thing is that I would watch that show week by week. Like I'd have to wait 7 days for the next chapter to follow up. Like I was heavily invested, not just in the show, but time wise. This show kind of cheated. I wasn't watching it week by week. I just binge watched it over the course of a few days, when I had time. So I think maybe I was less gratified by it, but I really liked it. I was shocked by how much I liked this show because I wasn't the big Wanda. I wasn't the biggest, Scarlet Witch fan. Which, again, I get it. I'm a DC fanboy, but also she was always like my 8th favorite Avenger. Like, wasn't one of my favorites. I remember at the very end of Ultron, when Cap says, "Well, I mean, we're not the 28 Yankees, but we got some hitters." And he looks at it. I'm like, "Oh, Falcon, yeah, you got a good one right there." But Vision, Scarlet Witch, are they kind of the weak ones?
Vision can walk through walls. How is he not
And-
heavy?
Vision can hold Thor's hammer.
Yeah.
Again, I admit I was fucking wrong. I watched the series and I go back. Fuck, man, I think they're better than the original 6. Shit. fuck Hulk. Yeah, I
Well, to
want
be
Vision on my
fair,
side.
They never really showed Vision going through shit until Civil War.
Yeah, well, props to Paul Bentley, man. Like he made me give a big shit about Vision. I like the character, but his interactions with this were fucking tragically like amazing. And Ferny even said like I had mentioned to Fernando at one point, to Ferny at one point, that I wasn't really that interested in watching the show because I wasn't invested in these two characters. After watching the show, I want to see what happens next. I hope Wanda isn't going to be the main villain because they kind of already did that with Age of Ultron and her being like, "I'm not a good guy, but I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a good guy, but I'm not a bad guy." I kind of hope they don't do it again, but we'll see.
Yeah. My thoughts were a little scattered at the start. Something that I think is fair to remember is that we spent almost an entire year with no new Marvel MCU material. Okay.
Yep.
Endgame came out, and then we had like this little window of like Spider-Man Homecoming, which felt more like an epilogue than as like an ongoing thing. I think I told you, Eddie, I remember telling you that when we watched Endgame, I remember telling you like, this was great, I'm satisfied, I'm good if I don't have something else for like a little while. I feel like I'm fed enough, I'm full,
You son of a bitch, you jinxed it.
Yeah, I jinxed it. And because we were so used to having like 3 MCU movies a year or so. And when they said, okay, after this, we're going to go a little back. We're going to do Immortals. We're going to do Black Widow. And I said, okay, those are good palate cleansers before we start moving on to the next chapter. Those have been pushed. So when I finally sat down to watch WandaVision on the day it came out, I remember I saw the Marvel logo start, the little fanfare at the start. And I thought like, I haven't seen or heard this in like a year. So I think that's fair to say that expectations were high. The format hits very quickly. Like it starts and it feels like I Dream a Genie or Bewitched or like those really old shows. And I do agree that like the first episode I thought is fine. The second episode I think is the weakest out of all of them. It's very slow and the pacing doesn't feel like enough things are happening. But after that, I think every episode just hits. Like it goes at a really nice pace and you get to know the characters very well. I really like Elizabeth Olsen. I really like Paul Bettany. I think both of them do a great job. I think they have really good chemistry and everything, considering they have like 20 years between them. And but I like how they committed to the format, and then they started to like move things along. One of my biggest complaints with the MCU was that they introduced really great characters, and then they just forgot about them, and they just stopped using them. One of my favorite runs in comics in Ant-Man actually is the storyline used in Ant-Man and the Wasp, and there's a character played by this really southern actor that wants to steal the lab all the time. And in the comics, that character was not that character. It was Justin Hammer from Iron Man 2, and it always bothered me that they never reused him. They just never reused the actor. They used a different actor to play a different character. I'm like, why are you introducing more characters when you could have just reused them? And I think WandaVision fixes that. They bring Jimmy Woo back. They bring Darcy back. I I like how they make this universe feel more cohesive, and like, hey, they're just not introducing them to never use them again. Ferny, from what you said about Falcon and Winter Soldier, we see that Sharon Carter is coming back. We're seeing that Zemo is coming back. Apparently, Don Cheadle as War Machine is coming back for that show as well. So I like how how the Disney Plus shows are gonna be more cohesive in keeping these characters together. Um, I dug the show. I really dug how this felt like the more experimental thing that Marvel has ever done, because it managed to be funny, endearing, very interesting, and much like everyone, I do agree that I don't think the ending hits in the best way. I wasn't 100% satisfied with the ending, and it's not because I had like all these theories of what I wanted to happen. I didn't really let my expectations get with it. It's just I have a very specific complaint with the ending that I don't love. But now that you both pointed out that, oh, maybe they're setting up Wanda as a villain, I never thought of it that way. I kind of always thought that she just ended up going like in her own way. But as a villain route, that would make the motivations at the end more interesting. But before we get into those complaints, let's talk about like standouts. Like, what do you guys think? What's the thing that, like, captured more about the show?
I mean, what you said, how Marvel will introduce characters and just kind of forget about them. I think that's what everyone thought that was going to happen to Zemo at the
Yeah,
end of Civil War. They were like, oh, well, I mean, he was hardly in it. He didn't even have the mask. Like, I think they're just going to use him like once and done. But um, I think this is probably one of those smarter new evolutions that Marvel is doing to the extended universe, to their cinematic universe, is that not only are they going to be doing feature length films, but they're also going to be doing these shows to flesh out existing characters or to introduce new characters, and then switch those characters into their movies, because we all know Monica Rambeau is going to come out in Captain Marvel 2.
totally.
um we all know that Scarlet Witch is going to come out in
Doctor
Doctor
Strange.
Strange
Yeah.
2. We all know that Vision's going to probably make an appearance, probably also because now it seems like Vision is going to go on the quest of Winter Soldier, where he's given all these old memories, and he basically has to figure out who he is.
But do you think that's a bad thing to some degree, like for the average fan? That because here's the thing, like I'd argue I think we're above average when it comes to being fans of comic book movies and TV shows and stuff. The average fan of the movie, fucking Mr. and Mrs. John Doe,
My
probably are not
parents.
going to watch the show. Yeah, your parents. I doubt they're going to watch this show. So do you think that's going to result in them being lost? When the movies
Um,
finally come around.
the only
Fuck them
analogy I
kids.
can think of is so I'm a fan of the UFC. There's
Uh-huh.
some fights that are commercial fights that the casual fan will pay for, and then there's some fights that the hardcore fan will pay for because they know this fighter's a fucking badass, and they know they're going to get a good fight out of it. They know that this guy isn't just some guy who's in the newspaper all the time or is on the websites everywhere. Like, they know that there's a difference. What I think this helps is that there's going to be the hardcore fans that like these shows because they flesh out the characters, and then there's going to be also some casual fans that jump in too, because I mean, let's face it, Marvel sold $2 billion worth of tickets, almost $3 billion worth of tickets for Endgame. So there is an audience out there, and to keep them interested, to keep everything fresh and new, um I think the introduction of doing these TV shows, and that's because from what I hear, that WandaVision isn't getting a second season. I think this might be a one and done. Um, like, if that's the case, if they're gonna be doing that, like these short little mini series, limited series for these characters that we all know about and that we've seen before, and they're fleshing them out, I say that's a great way to keep it fresh and a great way to expand your audience, because how many people gave a shit about Wanda or Vision before this? Although the hardcores gave a shit about her, but I mean, now you have a good chance of getting casual fans into liking this character. Like yourself, Eddie, you said you're not a Marvel guy. You're not a Wanda guy. You're not a Vision guy. And now look what happened. Like, you were introduced to these characters in a more fleshed out way, and now you want to see what happens to them next.
You know, me and Nick were talking, we were watching the show, and I told her there's no fucking way that they could have fit this entire show into a movie. Like the storyline, the plotline, everything, it was way too fucking complicated for them to do it in one movie.
Oh
They
yeah.
probably could have forced it, but like I would not have been as invested. Now with these characters, I'm like, oh shit, like I have something, I care, and also they understood that we needed time to process between episodes. Like after the Quicksilver reveal, there was a whole week of speculation, people absorbing it, understanding it, talking about it, commenting it, sharing it, and it was mainstream. And after that, what does White Vision mean? What's going on with this? What's happening here? Is Wanda really the bad guy? Oh fuck, it was Agnes all along. What's gonna happen next? Like it was. As it progressed, it gave you time to absorb it and really, discuss it with other people. Man, I don't see this movie. I could never see it working out as anything but a TV show.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's kind of perfect in its own in its own way. Like the idea and execution of it was tailor made for this format. There's and I'm glad that Marvel find out that they can do and tell stories like this, because I am a big fan of the Netflix shows. I love Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Punisher, all those. I love those shows. They got to be a little bit more dark, a little bit more violent. They got to curse. They got to try all these things. And it kind of always bothered me that those never tied into the movies. And they technically exist in the MCU, but they haven't really been tied together. So I'm hoping that at some point they do. But I like that they're gonna use this for the specific format to tell lower scale stories that we can follow week by week. I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with Miss Marvel. I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with She-Hulk. I think that there's going to be a lot that they're going to be able to do with this. I want to give a shout out to Catherine Hahn. She's one of my favorite actresses working right now, and how she played Agatha. I think how she played like the really kind, like neighbor. The whole series was really entertaining and really fun. And then how the reveal that she was the villain. I don't want to call her like one of the best villains that the MCU has ever done, because it's a very limited list, but I think she was hella memorable, and I think really played a very cool part in the developing of Wanda and turning her into the Scarlet Witch that we're gonna be seeing from now on. Do you guys think that from here, moving on to Doctor Strange, how is it gonna play out? How is she gonna approach the Strange? Is it gonna be in a good way? Is it gonna be in a negative way? Like, are they gonna fight? Are they gonna team up? Like, what's gonna be the play here?
Well, I mean, what I thought, or at least my own interpretation of the ending, is that, well, now she has the Book of the Damned, and now she's basically like scrolling through multiverses, trying to find the multiverse with her kids that she lost when her mental breakdown finally receded.
Yeah.
So I feel like, if anything, if that's gonna step on anyone's toes, I feel like that's probably the aspect that would step on Doctor Strange's toes.
You mentioned what if this is a season 1? I just thought about something. I don't think I would want a season 2, because I don't see the format working in a season 2, because the format was each episode was a different decade of a TV series, mixed in with long-term storytelling and storylines and stuff. Yeah. I don't think a season 2 could ever work with this show. I mean, potentially, I'm sure they could find a way. Fucking, it's Marvel. They'd find a way, but I don't think I would want a season 2.
Yeah. It doesn't really lend itself to do it. I agree.
But then as far as like Doctor Strange is concerned, I see them becoming allies, although
like if she's not the villain and she's an ally, it makes sense. I mean, they're both magicians.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have an issue with the show, and I wanna bring it up. So we see Wanda, she creates this fantasy. She has where she is living with Vision. She has these two kids, these twins, and I like I said, I don't want my theories or anything to get in the way of like of being biased. I'm not Eddie, but there's a sorry,
Uh,
I had to do it. There was a moment where my expect well, not my expectation, but like what I thought the show was gonna go was that she created this whole illusion, and she has all these people, these innocent people, pretty much trapped, working for her to maintain this illusion. And I thought that the show was going to go in a direction of there is no real villain because the villain is her because she kind of did all this in a selfish way because she couldn't process her own grief. And then throughout the whole show, we kind of see it going in the direction, but then it steps away. At the end of the show, she gets an opportunity to, she gets this power, she gets the cool suit that we're gonna see in Halloween this year, worn by everyone, and that's okay. But we get to this point where she has an opportunity to kind of tell the people, hey, I fucked up, I'm sorry, and then like, try to make it better. But she doesn't. She just kind of like, oh, I got this power, I have to go make sure my kids still exist out there. And like that felt kind of selfish by the end. I feel like she should have like, yeah, she freed everyone, but like probably caused a lot of traumatic experience in that. And I kind of didn't like that the motivation at the end was no, what was I need to make this better so that I can, save my non-existent kids. I think this should have the motivation at the end should have been I trapped all these innocent people. I fucked up. I did wrong. I need to fix this. And then by the end and the two after credit scenes, we go into she's still like obsessed with finding her non-existent kids. So that's the one part I didn't like about the show. I feel like the show is a fucking hit until that very end. I feel like the payoff should have matched the bad things that she did. And I just did not think that they paid off in the best way to the point where I felt satisfied with her arc by the end. If they're going to go and push her into a villain direction to where the point where she's like, oh, fuck them, I don't care about them, I need to save my non-existent kids, I'm like, okay, fine, she's going to go the villain route. But if by the end she's going to stay like holy and good and a hero, I don't think the motivations match that. And I don't think, and I am not quite satisfied with the end with that. If that's what they're gonna do.
Did anyone else? Is now the time that we can mention a theory or two that we may have had, or that we were kind of hoping the direction that they were going to go in?
I have one, but I'll let you guys go first.
I like the X-Men theory. I was like, if any time is better than now to introduce mutants into the MCU, I thought it would have been with Wanda, her being stronger than Sorcerer Supreme, her having access to the multiverse. Fucking go for it. I mean, that's probably the only one that I thought could have happened if by any miracle it could have happened. But other than that, no, I didn't really look at the fan theory so much. But that was pretty much the only one that I knew of.
What I was kind of hoping for, and I really thought
you were hoping for it to fail, Eddie, because you're a DC fanboy and you're obviously biased, but it's okay.
Yeah, clearly I'm biased. But what I was really hoping for was that at the very end, because I was frustrated that Wanda didn't have any happiness, man. Like, I understand, but still, fuck. I was really actually hoping at the end that maybe the kids would have actually stuck around and she would have been like, what the fuck? And then, like, I don't know, either like White Vision or like, somehow she's like, when Vision died, she was already pregnant with the twins. And she even mentioned in the show, you can't like up your age just because it's convenient. And she had actually like during the process sped them up to a point where they were kids. Like, like she skipped the whole pregnancy part or skipped the pregnancy part. And they had twins. I was kind of hoping she either would have had the twins, like, they were little beans and she's like, oh shit, I'm pregnant. Or B, White Vision shows up and he tells her, you're pregnant with 2 kids, right? Also, my memory's kind of fucked. Like, should we try to make this work? And she's like, let me show you our life and go from there. I wanted a happier ending than what we got. I understand what we got, but I was kind of hoping, because by the end, man, she deserves more, man. Like fucking the episode with the bomb where they're going through her traumas, when she's a kid, when she's older and stuff. Like her and her brother watching TV with their parents practicing English, and that bomb's about to go off. Like I remember that scene in Ultron where she said we hid under the bed for 2 days waiting for the bomb to kill us, and we just remember thinking, "Fuck, that's rough." It was rough. Like I fucking saw it, and I was right. Like this is terrible. So. I don't know, man. I wanted her to have just a little bit of happiness, man. Not a lot, just a little bit, man. She deserved just a little bit.
You would think with being a DC fanboy, you'd be used to non-satisfying endings, characters in disarray, just constant bleakness in their universe.
Jesus Christ, Ferny.
Hey,
yes.
where's this?
Yes.
Where's this enthusiasm in the Man of Steel review? I didn't see you anywhere. Like, why didn't Superman save Kevin Costner?
It's Falcon, that's why.
He could have easily
Robin Hood
and saved him. And then, so what if those people saw them? They're in the middle of Kansas. He could have lasered them all and sent them to the middle of the ocean.
I said the exact same thing. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? You can each consecutively and together eat a dick.
Eat a dick. Yeah, here it comes. Okay.
You remember that from the old days, didn't you?
I'm gonna keep a counter for that.
But I agree. It did kind of suck. Like Wanda had no happiness. Like at the end of the show, like everyone was just gone.
Yeah, and that's the part where like I don't totally hate that because it's a hole that she dug herself into, And while I do agree that it's because she wanted to be happy, there is a way that you need to process grief, and the way that she was doing it was causing harm to very innocent people, and that's why when she doesn't have a happy ending, it's self-realization of I'm not gonna get my happy ending if I don't process my grief, and the way that I did it was harmful and toxic and wrong. I had one theory while I was watching it week by week. After the Malcolm in the Middle episode, there is a moment where Monica Rambeau talks about how she's going to talk with this astrophysicist dude, and that it's her contact and it's going to help her. And that episode ends, and we don't see it, so we're like, oh, we're probably going to meet him in the next episode. Who is this contact? Who is this astrophysicist that we're going to meet? And a lot of theories pointed out that this was going to be like the introduction of Reed Richards, like from the Fantastic Four into the MCU. And I started thinking, okay, like if I was to like create how could they do that? The popular fan cast for Reed Richards is John Krasinski from The Office, and so Jim from The Office. And I thought it would have been so cool if, since they're doing like decade episodes based on shows from each decade, if we're going from early 2000s with Malcolm in the Middle to the 2010s, I said, why not do an Office parody episode, and you get to introduce John Krasinski, who was in The Office, and then ask Reed Richards. They didn't end up doing that. They ended up parodying Modern Family, which was actually kind of okay. Like the payoff was pretty funny. But yeah, that was the only theory that I had. That didn't end up using any of that. Reed Richards is not in the show. The closest thing we get is like a little Skrulls Thieves teaser, like at the end. Which, what was exactly the person that were saying like a close friend is looking for you? Was it Captain Marvel, or am I just confusing it with something else? Because I'm pretty sure it's Captain Marvel.
It's more than likely Captain Marvel, because Monica Rambeau is gonna come out in Captain Marvel 2.
Yeah.
Hopefully she can show Captain Marvel how to do her job properly.
Oh yeah, like someone should show Zack Snyder how to do his fucking job with the fucking atrocity that he's gonna release in 2 weeks.
Or
sorry for
what's wrong with you?
Or how Superman didn't wait to kill Zod until it was about to kill some family. But no, fuck the city. Just destroy the entire city. Oh, this one family, you can't hurt them.
No, see, you know what's actually a big controversy about that Man of Steel thing that they never told you? So Clark, before that city gets destroyed, buys like a shit ton of like insurance for buildings and shit. Like that way, like there's a huge payout, like just huge, like crazy. It's actually a big insurance scheme. Actually.
That's an interesting fan canon. Are we gonna hear about it in like and like your theories episode before.
I didn't
Before
come
the
here to
Snyder
get
Cut.
judged. I came here to talk about Marvel, you pieces of shit.
We'll probably see in the next extended director Snyder cut of Man of Steel.
Yeah.
They didn't let me make the movie I wanted to make.
We'll see. We'll see how that goes. What else? What else captured y'all's attention during WandaVision? Like, what were some standouts? What do you guys
Man,
think?
the thought process. Well, because I like how they reintroduced the blip, as they call it, from
Yeah.
Infinity War, and then you realize, oh yeah, that's right. People around the world dealt with this, and Monica Rambeau was one of the people that got blipped, and her mom wasn't. And during the whole blip, her mom died of cancer. So when she came back, she had to deal with the reality that her mom was dead. She lost her job. Like, she had to basically like start her way up.
I like that. They kept. I like how they kept involving that here, and I like how they. We met Monica Rambeau's mom in Captain Marvel. I think it's very interesting that they had her die like between the start and end of the blip as like cancer, because like to show us also that life didn't stop during that time. Like things kept going and like people died like for normal causes, because we tend to see like, oh, this is a thing that is happening right now, but also life kept going. So I think it added to the drama and to the tragedy of Monica Rambeau. I'm excited to see how it's going to play out next. I'm sorry, Eddie, what were you going to say?
I don't remember. Not gonna lie to you.
All right.
I was gonna ask, how did y'all feel about Agnes, about her being the villain? I kind of saw it from the beginning because she was too big of a name actress for her not to be the bad guy. I don't even think she actually has like a full on like story. I'm encyclopedic when it comes to DC. Nowhere near as good when it comes to Marvel, but I'm not familiar with the character at all. Is she even real, or was she just made for the show?
No, she's real.
She's actually the mom of Mephisto.
Ooh, okay, that could be fun.
So her I knew like Mephisto was the main theory, like especially because she had kids and that's the whole storyline from the comics. But when they didn't do Mephisto, the next logical choice was Agnes. But the thing that I like the most is that they took that actress that played Agnes and they made her like actually a pretty decent villain, because every time I see her, I always think of Step Brothers, the one particular scene where she's getting railed in the bathroom by John C. Reilly.
What?
You've never seen Step Brothers?
I don't think so. I'm not sure. I'd be lying to you if I said for sure.
You're missing out on one of the best comedies ever made, and she is hilarious in it.
I just remember thinking like, I don't like that Will Ferrell, like those Will Ferrell movies. I like the ones where it's just straight up awkwardness.
Oh, you don't like funny movies? It's okay. You can say it.
Hey, fuck you. The other guys was hilarious. All right. Fucking Old School is hilarious. Step Brothers, that one's a miss in my book.
You're dead to me.
That's fair. Except for the drum set scene. I fucking love that scene.
So is this your way of teasing that the next one's the rewind is gonna be Step Brothers? Is that what you're trying to say here, Ferny?
No, right now I'm doing the Fallen series, the Gerard Butler action series.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. Fucking. Oh god, I got notes on that series, but let's not go down that route right now.
All right.
So
I like the villain. You know. But before we end up talking about before we finish talking about the villain, I like how they kept her like existing. So in case they want to bring her back at some point for anything, they can.
Oh, they will.
Which I thought was pretty okay, because yes, she is a big name of an actress and she is really good. Bad Moms is a fucking fantastic film and she's really funny in it. But I like how they did what they did to her at the end. Like she said, like, I'll still exist, and then like I'll always be here. And then Wanda just goes like, well, if I need you, I know where to find you. You know. So if at some point they want to reuse her, they need to bring her back for whatever, they can. I like how they left that specific door open. Yeah.
They're gonna bring her back for Doctor Strange. They are done. It's gonna happen. As far as Agnes was concerned, she was also kind of I love how she was linked with the whole Salem witch trials thing. She's the best kind of villain though, where like she kind of sneaks up on you and stabs you in the back with a dagger, nice and slow, like when you don't see it. And I love that, genuinely.
I like how she wasn't tied to Tony Stark in any way. Also, like the bar is low, but yeah, that was nice. Because we were getting a lot of those.
Do you want to start getting into like the ending or like what we were hoping, what we were expecting, and what actually happened?
Well, I think I already covered that when I said that the only thing that I didn't like. So you guys can go on, can go off on that. And then if I have a point,
I feel like I want to hear Eddie's more point of view because he has no skin in the game, and I wouldn't say he's biased. I would never say that. But I hear rumors that he's biased. So Eddie,
I mean, I liked it. I liked the finale. Felt like a great finale. You know, fucking everyone's firing on all cylinders. Did anyone else think of how stupid the Hayward was from Sword and him trying to like bomb Wanda? Like, motherfucker, this shit doesn't work. You can't use missiles against an Avenger. Even if it's Captain America, he will survive. He literally did in Winter Soldier. Like, that strategy does not work. Think long term or nothing at all.
Hayward to me was a very pathetic side villain. And I think he was meant to, like from the start. There is one moment where I did agree with him. There was a moment where Wanda visits the Sword building and wants to take Vision's body and pretty much bury him. And there's a moment where Hayward just tells her like I'm sorry, but I can't let you take $3 billion worth of vibranium to just put it on the ground.
That's a good point.
And yeah, that's the moment where I went like, shit, like that's kind of right. And yeah, I mean, Vision, of course, is an idea. He's a program. He's the Mind Stone. He's all these things, and he's, put them all together, and you have a hell of a guy. But the body, just by itself, yeah, probably can't bury it. Probably can't just make it like just take it to not do anything. I don't agree with making him into a weapon, but I do agree that she can't just take it to like bury him. But I wouldn't know what another alternative would have been right. Yeah.
But I mean, for him to be like, well, like you're going to look at an Avenger, again, a fucking Avenger, and say, well, the best I can do for you is let you say goodbye to him here. Yeah, like that's going to fucking work.
Well, to be fair, they're not expecting her to hurt them. Like you just said it, she's an Avenger.
But like, there's precedence for this of like, you can't really tell an Avenger what to do. Like those people, and that's not to say strictly Avengers, but I mean superpowered individuals on that scale. Like, hey Cap, stay in your lane. We know what we're doing with these helicat carriers. Nah. Iron Man, hey, stay in your lane, bro. Just make the weapons. Nah. And then we're talking about a witch who's stronger than either of them combined a couple hundred times over. Like, no, you're not. You're vastly underestimating this character.
The thing is that he's protected by the Sokovia Accords established in Civil War. So technically, if she did something, it would have been like highly illegal. So that's the thing. Yeah.
And what? What are you gonna do? Fucking arrest a person that can actually bend reality to her will?
Yeah, there needs to be there are rules to this after Civil War. So
okay, call Captain Marvel to come deal with her. Call Captain Marvel to come deal with her. Let's see what happens. Ask War Machine what he's doing that day.
I don't know, man. Look. I'm not telling you that this makes sense because it really doesn't. But that's the way that their world works. Yeah, that's the way that the rules are established there. So. Yeah, the dude felt protected because he's like, oh, I can do whatever I want and say whatever I want. I'm the director of this program. I own the body. I can do whatever I want. She wants to do something. She ended up doing something. Okay, so that's pretty much what they ended up doing. What the hell happened to White Vision by the end? Because it felt like kind of like the ending of the first season of Stranger Things, where like Hopper goes to leave the waffles in that little box, and we're like, oh, is she still alive? Like, is she not? That's how I felt when White Vision just dipped, and we're like, okay, I guess this will have consequences.
I mean, my theory was he went the Winter Soldier route, that because the spirit of Vision, the one that came out of Wanda, implanted the thoughts and all the memories of Vision into his brain. So now he's basically having to find himself again because he's not a robot. He's kind of an android and kind of human. It's very weird. But yeah, my whole theory is that now he's has to go and relearn himself again.
Will we see him again? And if we do, how soon? I don't think he's gonna pop in Doctor Strange like at all.
That would be my only guess as to when we would see him again.
I mean, I don't know if Vision could carry a whole movie by himself. Maybe he can. Like, obviously, I didn't think Wanda could have her own fucking movie, let alone her own TV show, and she did. So you never know. I mean, it's doable. It's possible. There's precedence for this.
Totally. So, yeah.
No, so I was gonna say, if they were to do a season 2, though, like, what would you guys want to see? What would you all expect? Like, hypothetically speaking, fucking they do Scarlet Witch season 2, Electric Boogaloo. What are we looking for?
Probably something completely different. Probably not using the format of the TV shows. Probably not using the format of jumping a decade each episode. Might be just her adventures traveling the multiverse trying to find her kids. But it wouldn't be WandaVision. It would be Scarlet Witch the show.
And then plus we need to see what happens in Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah. Which I think it's going to be combined with Multiverse of Madness. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think WandaVision is like a one and done thing, and I think it's fine. I think it works perfectly as like its own little weird thing, and it also works perfectly as a stepping stone into like the next big story, and it allows some time to spend some time with these characters that are usually just standing in the background throughout most of the other films when they're not dying.
Yeah, that's yeah, I mean, I agree 100%. That's why I'm so ready for Falcon Winter Soldier because I mean, we get the theory, or not the theory, the feeling at least from the post Endgame movies, Spider-Man Far From Home and now WandaVision, that the world is kind of in disarray, really trying to scramble like to figure out what they're gonna do because the Avengers aren't really what they were prior to Thanos. So now it's really just like they need something. They need somebody to be the hero, even though the Sokovia Accords are still there. Which I'm curious if they're gonna bring those back in Falcon Winter Soldier, if they're gonna like talk about them, if they're gonna rescind them. But I mean, it is interesting to see this post Endgame universe because now it's just like, okay, well, there's no more Thanos, so now where are we gonna go with this? I don't have a clear view on it. I think with the acquisition of Fox and them getting back the X-Men universe and all their associated characters, can lead to Galactus, can lead to anything else. But as of right now, I do like these, I guess, smaller centralized stories.
Yeah. I think absolutely they're going to touch on the Sokovia Accords during Falcon and Winter Soldier. I think they will be remiss if they don't. I think because I feel like that's going to take a more political position direction from the previous. Like I feel like this is going to be more like Captain America Winter Soldier than any of the other properties. It's going to touch more on that. It's going to show us like this post Thanos world where I think the audience and the people and the humans are just so ready to turn on these superheroes. I mean, something that all of these have in common is that Spider-Man Far From Home ended with Spider-Man being unmasked, and we're going to see where that goes, but he ends up in a negative light. Wanda is probably being perceived negative as well. And now Falcon and Winter Soldier, they're going to be like pretty much just going like out of the law since from what I understand, the big plot is that Sam Wilson inherited the Captain America shield, and and then he's like, okay, I guess I'm the new Captain America, and the government is like, no, you're not the new Captain America. This white guy is the new Captain America. You're not gonna be him.
You have the wrong skin color.
Yeah. Which is gonna be, I think it's, if I'm not wrong, it's gonna be Kurt Russell's kid, who's been popping up in everything. That's gonna be him. Yeah, Wyatt Russell, who I mostly known from Everybody Wants Him. So he's a good actor. I think he's gonna do well in the show. But I like how most of this, now that WandaVision has ended, it ended in a position of like, okay, maybe the public is now ready to reject Wanda. They already rejected Spider-Man. They're rejecting Wanda. This is probably going to happen to Falcon and Winter Soldier. We'll see where this goes. But I think the next big plot or like the next big direction is going to be the world doesn't want these heroes anymore. Like the age of heroes is probably over. And they're just going to have to deal with the consequences of that. And I'm interested. I'm pumped. I really want to know what happens in Falcon and Winter Soldier. And I'm really interested in knowing what's going to happen with the next introduction of heroes like Shang-Chi, whatever they're going to do with who else is next? Who else is getting
Immortals? This year, it's supposed to be 4 movies. It's supposed to be Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Immortals, and Spider-Man 3.
Yeah. I think it's too soon for Spider-Man 3, but I'm pumped. I really want.
I think they should fucking release Black Widow on Disney Plus, go the Warner Brothers route, and be like same day movie theaters, same day on the streaming service. But
hey, Ferny, if you want to see Black Widow dropping on Disney Plus, you just have to watch Endgame to like the 2-hour mark, and you can see Black Widow drop in Disney Plus.
Guys,
sorry, it was right there.
Well, no, do y'all really think that
guess you could say that was low-hanging fruit?
Boo.
Oh, you shut up.
I think mine was better, but yeah. Go
ahead. No, so as far as the future of the MCU, do you think there will ever come a point potentially, and I'm talking not next year, not in 2 or 3 years, but I mean further down the line, where maybe instead of going the route of 4 or 5 movies, Avengers movie, we're gonna see maybe like a few TV shows and then like big like Avengers the series.
Don't you think that's what we're seeing now?
Yeah. Well, no, I mean like TV show, like we're gonna see like kind of like the Defenders, season. So like seasons of each individual show, and then you have the show The Avengers.
I think they're gonna be more subtle about it. I think we're gonna see more like WandaVision, where like side characters show up, than seeing like individual movie team up. I think it's gonna be more streamlined and more like subtle with the cameos and the showing up and everything. And I think they're gonna do like maybe change the format to like 2 movies and 2 TV shows a year, maybe.
Yeah, this year is gonna be really weird, especially because they have to throw in Black Widow into the mix. So 4 movies, it's gonna be a lot. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of Marvel, which I'm not against. Like, hey, go for it. If it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. But
yeah,
it's gonna be a lot of movies this year.
It kind of doesn't matter when they release Black Widow, because it takes place after Civil War, so it's just gonna, they can release it whenever and it's gonna fit the timeline. But yes, they should release it already, because like I need to fucking know what's gonna happen. I want to see David Harbour in a superhero movie, that at least a good one.
I thought he could have been a good Hellboy if they didn't mess it up.
He was my choice to play the Thing, like from the Fantastic Four, but probably not gonna happen.
Well, it's gonna happen soon, because what's his face? Watts is
John Watts.
Yeah, he's next up to direct the first superhero family.
We'll see how it goes. I mean, worst case scenario, it's better than the other ones.
Worst case scenario, it's better than Justice League.
Oh,
what? A Justice League joke? The one that I haven't heard a million fucking times already from both of you fucks.
Eddie, Justice League is the joke.
More like joke league.
Sick burn.
Yeah, sick burn, bro.
I hate you both so goddamn much.
This is us building up to the Snyder Cut, which
I'm kicking you all off my show.
this is my show. I don't know if you remember, but
Hey, motherfucker, whose name is who posts this shit?
This is the house that Chema built, okay?
Oh, that's a big fucking statement to say right there.
Okay.
All
right. Conclusions. Last thoughts on WandaVision. Do you think people will revisit the show? Do you think people will go back to it and like rewatch it, like for things other than to notice the Easter eggs or to see if they notice things? Like, do you think this will be that show that like people will revisit at some point, or is it just like another chapter in a book where like, oh, we're finished with this, let's move on to the next and never think about this again?
I think it has some rewatchability. And as far as like what I feel like closing on this show, I feel like it was a good change of pace for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Not a movie, but it's a show and like fleshing out these smaller characters. I think it's a good step forward into whatever they're planning on doing next.
It's a nice palate cleanser, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Eddie?
You know, I just realized something. I think the show is rewatchable. I think people will go back to it. But I think one thing we didn't talk about was what a great show it is at kind of going through the steps of grieving. Plus, it gave us some really good fucking quotes. Besides the whole, you know, what is grieving if not love persisting? But
yeah, persevering.
Persevering. I'm sorry, persevering.
Yeah.
But like Wanda going from, you know, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance, going through those emotions and dealing with it. I think that's rewatchability and watching her struggle and her coming out okay on the other side.
Wow, you like watching people struggle?
Fuck yeah, I love watching people struggle. Why do you think I watch Dragon Ball Z so goddamn much?
I don't know. You like long, drawn out episodes?
That too.
I mean, Dragon Ball. I mean, I don't think they're struggling as much as they're constipated. You know. They're struggling with their bowel movements. They're yelling too much from their stomach.
Or bad fathers.
Oh
God. Yeah. No. I'm in the same position. I like the show. I like how it got very experimental and how they were trying new things. I like that they're applied. I like how Marvel has this thing where like they're superheroes, but every property tries to do something different. Like the Ant-Man movies are like heist films. The Captain America movies are political dramas. Spider-Man is like this teen comedy. And then this is like a little bit of everything. So I like what Marvel is doing. I'm so excited to have the MCU back. And I'm really excited to see what they're going to do next. And I think that's, you know, something good. At least, you know, they're not gonna throw $1 billion to remake one of their films. So I think they're doing something right.
No.
The show has become a Snyder Cut.
Fucking, you know what? That's fine. The Snyder Cut has bled into everything else, hasn't it? It has, and I don't care.
Did you guys see what thing with the Snyder Cut happened today?
Oh, that some people got to watch it already?
Yeah.
Wow. Man, I would do a review. If I had the chance to watch it, shit, I would do a solo review without you fuckers.
We've been building up to it for like 3 months.
I don't give a fuck.
To not do it would be a disservice to the show.
No, I would do it by myself. I earned this. After all the shit I've put up with, I've earned this.
Oh, God. Anything else? Last thoughts?
I think we're done. I'm done with this. Like I gave it all the compliments I felt like I should.
All right, Ferny?
No, yeah, I said my piece.
Oh, if you're listening to us on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We greatly appreciate it. We are always trying to grow the channel. We're trying to get as many fans as we can.
Thanks for joining us. If you'd like to hear more about our thoughts on movies, go to therollback.net. I've been Chema.
I've been Eddie.
And I've been Ferny. Check out the Rollback check out Wednesday Rewind, check out our link tree, check out all the fucking links on there. This is the rollback. Cut it.